Hello, hello, hello. I'm Dennis, the Married Man's Coach, and I'm here to talk to you today about what to do if your wife doesn't love you anymore. Before I get into that, if you're a man and you're married and you want more of all the good things in your marriage, the love, the joy, the fun, then go ahead and subscribe, hit the bell icon, all that good stuff. Leave a thumbs up, leave a comment in the description. All right, so today we're talking about what to do if if your wife doesn't love you anymore. And the short answer is forget about it. Don't worry about it. Seriously, don't worry about it. Uh, and I'll explain that here a little bit more in a moment. I genuinely mean, I mostly mean don't worry about it. But first, let's talk about it from kind of what case it could be. So there's two things that could be happening right now. So either your wife is maybe she said this to you, she doesn't love you anymore, and that's often how it comes out, or it comes across a guy. His wife says that to him. My wife definitely said that to me at one point. She did the whole "I love you, but I'm not in love with you" thing. That was 8 years ago, 9 years ago, and it was really a turning point, not only in my own life but in my marriage, obviously. But we got through it. I got us through it, and I will say it. I got us through it. I led us out of it, and I'll talk a little bit about what that looks like. Some of the things that I did to do that will come up in this video. But first, let's kind of diagnose what exactly she means when she says that she doesn't love you. And so first, if they're just you forget if it's just words, if she just said it, you don't worry about it. What I mean is you don't take any sort of drastic action. You do take very deliberate, committed, continuous action. And what that is will come up here in just a moment. But if she's saying it, you're not in hot water yet. And that's because it's the feminine nature's like the sea, right? It comes and it goes and it changes. And we as men, what we often do is we kind of want to freeze things into a state of like it is this thing or it is not this other thing, and that is continues on for a long time. That's kind of like what the masculine part of what the masculine nature desires. We want that thing. We want that certainty. But women aren't like that. The feminine nature isn't like that. They come, they go, they're the weather. It changes. And so the same way that you wouldn't pretend or expect today's weather to be determinant of what tomorrow or next week's weather is going to be, you don't want, when your wife says this to you, you don't want to take it as gospel truth that that's going to be the kind of way it's going to be forever. Now it could. Again, I think maybe another alternate name for my channel is the No Guarantees channel, because there's no guarantees in this, not only in life, but in love and relationships, doubly so. But if she's saying it, then you want to take it seriously, but you don't want to freak out. That's for sure, because that can definitely make it worse. Because a woman will say this to her husband, and then he will kind of like go super gonna fix it mode, does 1,000 different things. None of them really stick. They don't really resonate with who he is. And then it ends up just pushing her further away. Because again, it comes down to attraction, doesn't it? Everything comes down to attraction, or most things come down to attraction. And so, yeah, keep that in mind. You don't want to, if in the process of making this better, and I won't say fixing it, but making this better, then it's a slow, steady. It's a tortoise, not a hare. It's a tortoise, not a hare. But so is she just saying it, or is she taking action on it? If she's taking action on it, like she's moving out or filing papers, things like that, then you are obviously in hotter water, and you should check out this video. But if she's just talking about it, here's a couple things that you can do. But first, remember the most common mistake that men make in this situation is they try to talk their wives back into it. They think they can talk their wives back into falling in love with her. They'll kind of put the math on the table. Oh, but we got 2 kids, and this is what I did. And it didn't work. I essentially tried to guilt my wife into staying because, she was essentially breaking up the family. And yeah, that didn't work. What did work was making the slow kind of changes that I talk about in other videos. You can check out this one or that one. But you can see. So you don't want to sit down and say, hey, look, we got this, we got the house, and try to talk her back into feeling in love with you, because that won't happen. She might even take offense to it, because in some ways you're trying to buy her, or she's going to see it as you're trying to buy her, and then she might feel like a prostitute or something like that. And, I hear that most women don't like to feel like prostitutes. Not that there's anything wrong with that, except that there might be something wrong with that. So don't try to talk her into it. You're not gonna make headway by trying to convince her that she's wrong. Do you know what I mean? You're not gonna make any headway by trying to convince her that she's wrong. When people want to be right, even when they're wrong. We see this all the time. I know you see this all the time, day in, day out, in your daily life, in politics, news media, whatever it is. You see people doubling down on being wrong just so that they can try to be right. And so if you get into that dynamic with your wife, it ain't going to go well. You're just going to entrench her. You're just going to speed things up. So don't try to talk her back into the marriage. But you do want to take it, if she's just saying these things, you do want to take it as a strong signal that she's just barely keeping her head above water. That for her to say that, it's like kind of like she's drowning in a sea of monotony and bad feelings. And I don't know what those bad feelings are, obviously, but I do know that that's the overwhelming feeling she has, because otherwise she wouldn't be saying this. If the feelings of being in a relationship and marriage with you was generating anything other than negative feelings, then she wouldn't be saying this. And so you take it as a signal that she's struggling. Doesn't mean she's right, doesn't mean she has the authority to break up the family, or that's the best, but it's about meeting her where she's at, and where she's at is she's struggling. Okay, that's good. Then you can kind of put on your scientist's cap, and I know that that being a scientist is about observing. So don't do anything, just watch, pay attention, listen. And not to really listen to your woman or whatever, all that kind of nonsense. Not that you should listen to your woman, but the nonsense part is that this is sort of like the panacea. Oh, you really just need to listen to her. Have you tried to just listen to your wife? That's what some people say. They're dumb. You should listen to your wife, but it's not a panacea. But put your scientist hat on and just observe and see what's going on, and then you can better develop a plan on how to make her life better. And you make her life better by yourself becoming better. So that might mean you need to step up and take more responsibility around the house with the household chores, or with the kids. You might need to step up more so she's got less on her plate. I do not mean that you do chore play. I've got a video here on why chore play will not work. It won't work. But there's a difference between taking responsibility for your share of what needs to be done in the house and with the kids. That's different than doing chore play, which is doing extra chores with the hopes that you'll get laid. Right? Those are different things. But take notice of what's going on for her, see how that's going, and then make a plan. And remember, because she's a feminine, if she says she doesn't love you, or I'm in love with you but I'm not in love with you, then it doesn't have to have a global meaning. It doesn't have to have a meaning like this is how it is for the rest of the life. It doesn't have to mean that. The weather's bad today, but as it said in what was that? Remember the movie The Crow? It can't rain all the time. So just take it in stride, and then of course you double down on the stuff that it always is: fitness, frame, finances, and faith. Double down on those 4 things. Find which area is the weakest. Start leveling it up. And then do that out consistently over time, and then be pleasantly surprised when your wife says that she's in love with you again. I remember the first time that she said that to me again, it was just like, a lot of pressure kind of just slid off my shoulders, because I knew that we were kind of out of it. That we were out of that crisis, I also understood that it wasn't, I couldn't take her saying she loves me and everything was good to be the weather for the rest of the life going future, because it was a good weather. You know what I mean? Weather changes. Expect bad weather. Not as a pessimist, but as a realist. That's how things go. But if she has gone and taken some action on this, then there's more that you need to be doing. And it's the same thing. Like there's no secrets here, guys. There's no secrets about do this thing and then everything changes magically. Sure, there's some tactics, there's some tips, there's some strategies that I share with you in some of these videos, maybe on my Facebook group. But overall, these are just tactics to help you work on the bigger pillars, which is faith, fitness, family, and frame. And because those are the things that cause you're getting those things in order, are what causes you to be a more attractive person. And your wife wants to be attracted to you. That's the glue that's going to keep the marriage together. In general, that's the glue that's going to keep the marriage together. So if you need help on that, check out some of my other videos. I lay out a lot here on the channel. So if you're a man and you're married and you want more of the good things out of your marriage, subscribe and hit the bell icon. Ciao, ciao.